going on, guys? It's Mango Kango here, and yeah, we're back again, and we have some more furniture designs. I guess not all of them are furniture, but yeah, there's just a lot of variety here, so let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off simple and begin by placing at least one marker block for this one. You don't really need that many, but yeah, one is always good to have. I'll actually be placing two for this one. And for this, you're going to need 4 of the 60s desks. You're going to want to start by placing it on the back side of the wall over here. You want to go in hide mode and make sure that these are facing you. You want to go in hide mode, grab another one, place it like that, go in hide mode, grab another one, face it like that, go in hide mode again, and place the last one facing the opposite direction like that. And now when you go in /show, and as you make your way back up to the top, you get something like this. You can obviously delete your marker blocks, and yeah, you get a very nice table. It's round and it looks a little different than a lot of the other tables in the game, which is cool. You can paint the legs, so I'm going to do that real quick. And obviously you can paint the table, you can make it any color you want. So like if I were to choose this color, the table is now that color. Now, so I'm going to show you guys how to do something that, for whatever reason, a lot of people have questions as to how people are starting to make stuff like food items and whatnot. It's actually very, very simple, and I've actually been doing it for quite a while, but I didn't think it was something that was very complex or maybe questionable to people on how to make it, but I'd be more than happy to show you guys how to make it real quick. So if you're going to be placing it on something, you just got to keep in mind the height of your object. So this object is 1 stud above the ground because you want that head to reach the very highest point on the object you're trying to get at. So yeah, you're going to want it 1 stud above for this table, but if it's a table such as, I'm trying to see if there's a lower table here. So let's say it was a table like this. You would actually want the head to be directly on the ground. You'd actually want the head to be directly on the ground because it lines up with the top of this table. So to briefly and quickly show you how this is done, I'm going to grab a marker block, and you just want to place these so that you know that right in between, in the center point, which is about right here, is where you're going to want to place your head, if that's where you want it, in the center. Obviously, if you want it somewhere else, it doesn't entirely matter. And then you're going to want something that is a stud's height or width, which is this sign is actually perfect for that. So you're going to want to go in hide mode and get your sign and spam rotate until it flips upside down like that. And as you can see, it's perfect for a stud's length. So it's a height which is perfect, and you're just going to want to press done. Now you're not going to see it until you try and place another object, and it actually pops up, which makes it very cool because you can walk through it as well. So I do use this quite often, and you're just going to want to get it to be right in the center of these 2 stairs, which it looks like it is, and then the center is clearly right here, so we're going to place it. And now you can pick whatever you want. So if you wanted some sort of like plant or something, you could pick that. I think a pot or like this trophy would look very nice. So if I pick the trophy and delete the invisible sign underneath and get rid of the marker blocks, you're just going to want to paint the head though of the color of your table, which is that color if you remember, and then you're going to want to go in /show mode. Alright, and as you can see, your object is now on the table. Now you can configure this, which is actually really nice. I wish that's how the posters worked in this game. Unfortunately it's not. But yeah, that's how you get food on tables. You can place the food, or not place it, but like, you know, choose your item. You can have a plant on the table, or obviously the trophy. But yeah, that's how you do the whole head trick in this game. The only downside is you can see it a little underneath, but if you have something where it's not as visible underneath, it's not really a huge issue, and in this case it's really not that bad either. Alright, and next up we're going to be doing the potted plant with flowers on top. So for this you're going to need a camera, you're going to need one of the player heads, a barrel, and the star decoration. Alright, so obviously, as you know by now, we're first going to start out with a marker block. You're just going to want to place, stairs are best because you can kind of get a visual for where this is going to have to be. So first you're going to want to place your camera, so you're going to want to spam rotate on this camera, as it can be quite difficult to get the camera upside down for whatever reason. And there we go. And you're just going to want to place it in between, lining up with these two stairs. You know what I mean, the two front side. And now for the camera, this is where, you know, it's kind of your preference. For the top bit, those are going to be the stems of the flowers, so that part doesn't entirely, you know, it's going to be green most likely. But for the bottom camera bit, you mostly want to match it to what the pot color is going to be. But for now, since we are able to color it later, we're just going to color it a solid gray throughout. Alright, now you're going to want to go in hide mode. And you're going to want to grab your barrel next. Although these steps don't, you know, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be the barrel, but the barrel does make it a little bit easier. And then you're going to want to color your barrel whichever color you want. I'm just going to choose this blue color for now because it's supposed to be like a vase. And then for the inside, you're going to have to do this zoom in thing to get that bottom part colored. Because for whatever reason, the camera angle has to be adjusted in order to get full coloration. And it's also kind of a new discovery amongst the community that zooming into objects makes it easier to color them. Now this also works with almost every object in the game, as long as it's not a texturized object that has like a image texture. You're going to want to go in hide mode again, and then grab your player head. You're going to want to line it up with the same exact spot. And then for this one, I like to use the overgrown leaves for this, as it adds detail. I can have the ID on screen for you right now. And then for the head of this, I'm just going to color it a dark brown to match the soil in case it does pop up above, although I do think it is fully immersed in the barrel, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. And then you're going to want to go in hide mode, and then for this you're going to want to get a full-sized block, and you're going to want to replace where the stairs are and place the full-sized block. And now you're going to want to place your stars, so you're going to want to rotate these stars so that they're flat up against the bottom. And for this you're going to want it to be in this exact position, hanging most of it off the edge, and then one down from the top, if that makes sense. You're going to want to just place that. You're going to want to go in hide mode again, and you're going to want to use another set. You don't have to use two sets of the stars, although it does add a good amount of detail the more you have, as long as it's not too much. And you're just going to want to make sure that big star is kind of not in the same spot as it was before, just so there's more variety and you don't have all the stars in the same spot. So just like that. Okay, and you can delete your marker block. You want to go in /show mode. Alright, and as you can see, your stars are in the correct spot. Obviously you can arrange these to your liking, whatever you think looks the best, because before I did have one of the bigger stars covering one of these smaller stars, which might be your personal preference, because it can add, you can have like the smaller one be like the leaves, and you know, you can just really be quite creative with it. But yeah, as far as this goes, it's personal preference. Whatever you want to be green can be green, and then whatever you want to be a flower, you can have be a flower. So yeah, kind of like this, you know, and it looks pretty nice. And what's really cool about this is that you can take your like pot, color it whatever you want. You can take your flowers, make your flowers any color you want. Like, it can be whatever you want it to be. Alright, and up next we have a stool. Now, as we do already have a stool in this game, as you know, it's this one. This stool is not the easiest to paint, and that's actually kind of why I was making this at first. However, recently, since I've been testing a lot of things and I have seen other people do this, you can color it now. You just got to zoom in to the right angle, and yeah, it's colored, and you now have a like little stool that actually is a stool in this game for once, just like that, which is nice, right? But for this, it's just going to be something a little different. It's going to add a little bit of angle to it and a glass or glossy texture above. So this, as this one's not entirely useful, it's still kind of cool. So your stool being in the middle, you're gonna want to go in hide mode and place these clocks. You're gonna want to flip them upside down like that with the clock part facing downward, and you're gonna want to take the clock and it's gonna be one stud up from the center, just like this. I'm gonna go in hide mode again. Do the same thing on the other side where I want it. There we go, just like that. Alright, go in /show mode. Alright, and then this is what you're left with, which is actually, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, it's interesting, it's different, and you can also sit in it, depending on which way you face the stool, obviously. And then just keep in mind, underneath it looks like clock still, so if you want that to go away, you can always color the clock part, and then it makes it pretty hard to see. Not many people are going to notice it like that. But yeah, you can make the stool any color you want. It doesn't have to be white. You can make the legs any color you want, and yeah, you can even use it as a little table if that's what you want to think of it as. So yeah, just pretty cool. Alright, and up next we're going to be making a mannequin. Now this one, just a heads up, is going to be just a little bit more difficult to align things correctly, but it's nothing too challenging. And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute. We have a mannequin in the game. It's right here. Yes and no. You know, it's cool, but really it just looks like a Roblox avatar with whatever you put on it. Now, give or take, you know, like this is cool for its own thing, but it's just not my go-to aesthetically. I'd rather have something that actually looks like a mannequin, so we're not going to be using that today. Alright, and another disclaimer before we go into this one. This build requires a legendary to make it look as good as it can be, although you might not need it if it's something you're not able to use. And the legendary we are going to be using is the Orb of Confusion for this one as well, for another heads up. So firstly, you're going to want to place this lamp that comes in the Victorian set. Again, you're going to have the Victorian set in order to do this, but if you're really into building, I'd imagine you have this by now. So for the lamp, you don't want it sideways. As you can see, this is sideways. You want this lamp to be kind of like facing as widely as it can be. You just want it to be as wide as it can be, and you want it to be exactly in the center, which, as you can see, it is. Alright, and then you're going to want to go in hide mode. Then you're going to want to place your Orb of Confusion. It doesn't really matter which way it's facing, to be honest, but just for the sake of, you know, the front being the most preserved looking, we can face the on and off switch on the back side. And then you're just going to want to color this all one color right away. And then the middle bit, you're going to want it to be your more gray color. I do believe you're able to color these still, but just in case you're not able to, I do like to color everything right away. Okay, and that looks pretty good, right? That shouldn't look too bad. Alright, and what you're left with is something like this. You don't have to leave your hide mode, but this is just for me to show you. But yeah, so this is going to be the bottom with the skirt and the thing holding it up. Alright, then you're going to want to go in hide mode. If you aren't already in hide mode, that is. Place a stair, just like this. It can be this way or this way, because we're going to need it on this level of the stair. So we're going to place one of these little like teapot looking things, or I'm not sure exactly what they are actually, but you're going to want to face it just like this in the center, having this little bit facing backwards, because It technically shows a little bit, and it's always better to have it in the back than in the front, unless you want the weird thing in the front for some reason. But yeah, just color it, you know, the color of the mannequin. Again, your mannequin can be any color. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going with a basic gray. So now that that's done, you're going to want to get rid of the marker block and go in hide mode again. Then you're going to want 2 of these spotlights like this. You're going to want to rotate it until it's on its side, because for this you need a very specific rotation. And also I will have a video coming out on how to rotate objects a bit easier, as I did find a way to consistently get the posters to flip upwards or downwards, in case you struggled with that a bit. Alright, and once you get the arm in the correct direction, you're going to want it in the center. You're going to want it 1, 2, and 3 studs up, just like that. Go in hide mode. You're going to want to grab your other one and do the same thing, just the opposite direction, like that, right there. Okay, go in hide mode again. And lastly, this is going to be for the head. Now, as the head does sit on the top portion of the mannequin, you're going to want a full-sized marker block for this, which is just the regular base block. Alright, and luckily for this one, it actually just sits right on top. Perfectly on top, no like stud adjustments or anything, just in the center of this block. And you can get rid of everything now and go in /show. Alright, and this is what you're left with. Okay, and now obviously you can go to the head and configure it, and you can literally put whatever you want on it. It can be something like a Valkyrie, which is pretty cool, or something a little more like, I guess, normal looking for a mannequin. Some hair, so you could put some hair on it, just like that. I guess some bunny ears. It just adds for a lot of decorative purposes, and yeah, I mean, it's just it's cool, you know. It's like you see this in like a bedroom or like just anywhere in the house, you know. If you make a shopping center or something, you know, that'd be a really cool idea. You could have actual mannequins that look really, really cool, and they're not overly complicated to make, besides the legendary on the bottom being a little bit of an issue, as it is a little bit more difficult to get. But I can show you what that looks like without it real quick. Just like that. It looks like that, and it's still not that bad. Alright, and now we have the cabinets. Very interesting one. This one was a little bit more tricky for me to make, and it might be a little bit tricky to make in general. However, to make our alignments very, very simple and easy, we're actually going to make sure we have it in the center here. And I think you guys should do the same as well, unless you've been building for a very, very long time and are pretty confident with your alignments. So here, obviously, we have it in the center, facing 1 stud away from the wall. So you're going to want to place that. I prefer to color this right away. So you're going to want to take your paint bucket and color it, that way you don't got to color it later. Take your next printer, place it right above, and color this one as well. Now, as you can see, there's a gap in between. Alright, but but seriously though, we do have a gap here, and we need to get rid of that. So we're going to go in hide mode and place our last printer. And I probably should have done this with the washing machine. Now, this printer is going to give you a hard time, because you can't just go upwards with it, because you have nothing to go against. And you have nothing to place it on. So how are we going to get this where we want it? Because it needs to be 1 stud up, right? Well, again, we're going to use our sign, and we're going to place it on anywhere on the back side of this stair. And it disappears, but as you go and click the printer, it shows up again. And you can use that as like a rebound area, or thing to kind of bounce your build off of. And if you move it in the right way, but you just want to make sure that it is 1 stud away from the wall still. Keep in mind, this one is going to be a little bit more tricky. The printer doesn't like to go in this spot. So deleting this other marker actually might help. There. So you want it right there. As you can see, 1 away from the wall and 1 stud up. Then you're going to want to color this, as it may be difficult to color later. Although everything is technically colorable later, so you don't got to worry about it too much. And then before you go in hide mode again, it would be nice to place your marker back. Alright, now you're going to want to go in hide mode again and place some sort of back wall, because for this you are going to have a layer of wall or some sort of wall for this to really shine and work. And you're going to want to just have your whole back area like this. And then place whatever decal texture or design that you want on the back side. For this I'm going to go for something very simple, just like a wood backdrop. Alright, so you're going to be left with something like this. Alright, and for this next part, I'm not kidding, you're going to need 8 toasters. So if you don't have 8 toasters, you're going to need 8 toasters. Alright, and when I say toaster, I mean the more newer looking toaster, not the other one. Okay, and for this, you go in hide mode. Alright, and here's where it gets a little annoying. So now that you have your 8 toasters, they have to be placed in a very specific, annoying way. So you're going to want to rotate them until they're on their side like this. And based on the positioning is how you're going to place it. So if we start on the left side here, right, it's going to be up against the wall, but you're going to need it 1, 2. You can go ahead and place the other one that's on top of it right away. And then we're going to place our other one on the opposite side. Yeah, so 1, 2, and just place it right on top. So something like this. All your toasters are going to look like this. Okay? And now you're going to want to go in hide mode. And you're going to want all your toasters to be the exact opposite way now. So on this side, instead of it being the other way, you're going to want it this way, and 1, 2, one above it, just like last time. And as you can imagine, if I can get this to flip the right way, and 1, 2, and boom, just like this. Now you're going to want to go in show mode and make sure this is right, because you might have gotten it wrong. I even might have gotten it wrong. Alright, and it looks like we got it exactly right. So you're just going to want to color them now. Any color you want that you think goes well with the cabinet color that you've chosen. So you're going to want 4 of these teapot things. You're going to want to go in hide mode, then move it 1, 2, just like that. And so we know everything's rotated the right way, we're just going to do the same exact thing like that. Okay, then you're going to want to go in hide mode. 1, 2. Alright, just like this. Now as you can see, you have your little button things where you want them. Now I didn't know that these would actually stick through the top, so whenever you do them again, or if you have watched this video, don't rotate them with the little stub bit pointing towards the top, because clearly, as you can see, they pop up through the top, which is a no bueno. But you know, the final result is really nice. Like, it's very uniform, kind of more like I said, the cartoony style, and yeah, it just turned out really good. You can put whatever you want up there. Alright, and next we're going to be making the chair. So for this chair, it's supposed to be like one of those chairs that not a lot of like, it doesn't actually look like legs, it's more of like angled legs, and the handles are more like metallic, kind of like an office chair in a way. Okay, but to start this one off, you're going to want to take this light that I have right here, and I'm rotating it to try and get the gray part to sit on the bottom. There we go. So you want it just like that. Okay, and you're actually just going to want to line it up with the front side like this. And I believe you can take another one as well and do the same thing, because it fits in there. Yep, just like that. And if it doesn't fit, you can always go in hide mode, so you'll be good. You can color these now, you don't really need to. I'll show you the correct areas to color in a second, but for now we'll just make it all gray. And then for the next step, we're going to want to take this cloud seat, which I believe, yep, faces that way. For this one, we're going to have to go in hide mode, because it is locked to a grid, just like that. And go in hide mode again and get this next step done right away. I'm going to place these lights perfectly in the middle, and you don't have to do anything with them. The direction they're in is the direction you're going to want. Alright, and then you're left with something like this. We can now color it to the color of our chair that it's going to be. Alright, and for this last bit, it actually requires a holiday item, and that would be the stockings like this. The interesting thing about these holiday items is they are only one literal stud. So that's pretty interesting in and of itself. Alright, so you're going to want to place, if you do have these stockings from the holiday, you're going to want to, you can always get them next Christmas too, but you're going to want to place the stair like that, go in hide mode, and then you're going to want to grab a sign like this, place it on the back, press done. Now you have that area so you can place stuff on. Okay, then you're going to want to take your stocking and rotate it, spam rotate, and try and get it upside down. There we go. So you're going to want to place it right there, one stud above the ground, on the back side of the sign, rotated like that, and then you can just color it. Okay, and then you're going to want to delete your sign, go in hide mode again, and then place your sign again. And the reason we delete it is because it's not going to stay there when you go in hide mode anyway, so might as well delete it now rather than later. Okay, and you have your other sign there now. You're going to want to grab your other stocking and get it to be the right direction. And again, placing it in the middle, upside down, one stud above, and color correct. And now you're pretty much done. You want to delete all the other stuff, including the sign. Go in /show mode, and now you've got yourself a pretty unique chair that is not in the game. And you can actually sit in it, which is really, really cool. So yeah, obviously it does use a holiday item. You might not have it, you might have it. It brings really good use to it. But yeah, just to note, it's very important, in my opinion, that you keep every object that you buy, especially if it's during an event. I couldn't imagine selling some of these objects. Now, these ones you can get every year, such as the stockings, the nutcracker, the wreaths, and the bells, and stuff like that. But, like, you know, rotating them all directions, they then become useful, and you never know what they might need to be used for. And in this case, for the back side of this chair, it's really, really nice. So, yeah, just keep your objects, especially if they're ones you can't get again. Alright, and next up, this is another one that requires a wall, so you're going to want to place your 2 marker blocks right away, and this is going to be a shelf. So, yes, we have a lot of shelves in this game, however, a lot of the shelves, they're just very, very basic, and in this case, for this one, it has antlers, which is, you know, only works with certain styles. It doesn't work with all styles, and then you know, other shelves in the game, like maybe you could use this as a shelf. I guess technically you could, but it doesn't really sit on the wall, and you just have to do a bunch of things you probably wouldn't want to do with it. It's just weird. Like, in this game, there's not really many shelves, and maybe I'm missing something, but I mean, shelves aren't a huge thing in this game. Go and get our main base blocks, such as these. I'm going to place these real quick. Then you're going to want to grab a towel and that's going to be the main foundation of our shelf, like this. You're going to want to spam rotate until you get it to where the handles are facing towards the ground. You're going to want it to be halfway out, just like that. So half of it is going to be technically in the wall, the other half's going to be out. You could make it one more out if you wanted like a long shelf, but I mean, in this case, I don't entirely want that. Alright, and then go in hide mode, and you're going to want to place your other one. Just rotate it on its flat side, or actually not its flat side, but the side that's where the handles are downward. And alright, now that you got the one stud out on the stair side and halfway through on the block side, you're done with that one, and then you're going to need one more in the middle somewhere. This one doesn't have to be insanely accurate, but you know, somewhere in the middle. So it'd be kind of like this, and it doesn't really matter where it is because this block or object isn't really centered anyway. so this works out just fine. Now you're going to want to go in hide mode one last time, delete these blocks, except one of them, keep one of them real quick, because we're going to place the wall on the back side to make it more aesthetically nice. You can obviously, if you're actually building this and implementing it into your house, it'd be a little bit different than this, but we're going to place our common backdrop here of wood. Alright, and then you'll have something like this, which is pretty good if this is all you're going for, but if you want some handles, well, that's where this part comes in. So you're going to want to grab these two marker blocks, and then we are going to have to go in hide mode for this. So once you're in hide mode here, you're going to want to delete these two back blocks, or like the back two walls real quick. You're going to want this white part facing inward. You're going to want that one stud in towards the wall, and then you're going to want this part on the above part one stud up, so it'll look literally like that. Alright, and match it. Looks good. You're just going to want to color everything real quick. Okay, and now delete your two marker blocks. You can choose to put the wall, actually, yeah. And then we're going to actually put the walls back in real quick. That way we don't see anything off the edge or side. Okay, got it like that. Okay, and if you make your way back up to the top, this is what you're left with. A nice shelf. You can obviously change the color of this shelf. And keep in mind too, you can place whatever you want on here. And I did have a clock as an example, and like one of these little plants. But yeah, very, very, very nice. Okay, and lastly, as a bonus, I actually have a different pillar design to show you that more represents the classic like Greek pillar design. This is a bit of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a little strange, and it might not look exactly like how you would want it to look, but I thought it was pretty cool. So we're gonna place these markers down just so we know where we're gonna end up placing these pillars. But besides that, there's not much to it. So we're gonna actually just take some sinks. You're gonna need 6 of these. These are expensive, so in my case, I do have a lot because I've been, when you open presents, you get them, and you're just like, well, I didn't really want that, but I guess I have it now. And now that that's done, you want to go in hide mode. You're gonna want to grab these. Now these are uncommon, so yeah, it kind of sucks, but you're gonna need 6 of them. So you're just going to want to place them all on top of each other. They go together quite well, actually. It's a little interesting that they do that. Even this looks really cool in my opinion. Yeah, if you go in /show mode now. Alright, and then you're left with something like this. And as this may be a little bit strange, I actually do think it is kind of cool looking. If you like added to this, added maybe some like, using the player head, some like green leaves, it would look very, very cool and like aesthetically pleasing if that's something you're going for, like that elegant pillar type style look. So yeah, I do think it is very, very nice. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, I did put a little more effort into this as far as like the designs went, and I really kind of tried to go all out here for you guys, so appreciate it if you subscribed, if you liked the video. Let me know if you have anything to say in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. And you guys have been very, very, I appreciate you guys' support a lot, even in games and stuff like that. You guys show amazing support, and I love y'all for that. So see you guys in the next one. Alright. These guys want to be in the video, so I'll let them be in the video, just a short little cameo. They have a channel where they draw called Hansan, or Hansan, something like that. I'm sure they'd love it if you guys check them out, so go check them out. I'm sure they'd appreciate it.